Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I have another sort of unscripted tier list video. I have done these before. They tend to underperform a little bit, but this one is about flags and my flag videos tend to do quite well, so hopefully there's more than like 20 people watching this. Yeah, I'd also like to welcome in all of my new subscribers who are probably confused why a Helluva Boss channel is making videos about flags. Those are the two primary things that this YouTube channel seems to focus on, flag things and Helluva Boss commentaries. So yeah, today, pretty straightforward video. We're just going to be ranking all of the world flags in a big old tier list video. This is probably going to be like an hour long. I have done this before, but not on camera. I just did it for fun one time. But that was a while ago. It was probably over a year ago. So going to be doing it again. And yeah, and we'll just see what's changed. We'll see which flags I think look the best. So let's just get right into it. Probably going to go in alphabetical order here. Alright, first up we have the flag of Afghanistan here. This is the one from, I believe, 2013 to 2021. I think it's an alright flag. I tend to not like super complex flags. I feel like it has to be pretty well done in order for it to look good. If it's going to be super complex, and I don't think this one integrates it that well, I would say like high D tier, low C tier. Alright, next up we have flag of Albania. I don't think this one's even a context. It's S tier. It's so easily S tier. It's just so aesthetically pleasing. I love the double-headed, I want to say double-headed eagle. I think it's an eagle. Great color choice, great placement. It's simplistic, but also kind of complicated at the same time. It's power invoking. It's just a really wonderful flag all around. All right, next up we have the flag of Algeria. And it's all right. I watched a video by the YouTuber Jax Films. It was like a comedic video where he fixed the design of world flags, and he said that this looked like the like a toy ball with a star on it, and I've never been able to unsee that. It's a fine flag. The color choice seems kind of standard to me. Not really. Doesn't stand out that much. I would say like D tier. All right, next up we have the Andorran flag. I don't know if it's just this version that I have here, but this flag looks like kind of cartoony. They all kind of seem to look like that. This almost seems like it used to be Maximist, like it used to have a lot more details to it, but then it was simplified just for the sake of ease. Maybe like C tier. All right, next up we have Angola. Angola. As much as I don't want to admit it, because this is definitely communist imagery with the gear and the star, it's a very well-designed flag. I think I just really like red and black flags or something, because I do like this color choice quite a lot. I think the yellow adds sort of a nice contrast to it, and it looks very good together. I think it's got just the right amount of detail. I like the position of all the objects. Definitely an A-tier flag. Alright, next up we have Antigua and Barbuda. Another thing that I can't unhear from that same video about the Algeria flag is this looks like a girl's Instagram picture. Like, these are the legs, this is the beach, the water, and the sun. I'm not really crazy on like oversimplification of flags. I think that minimalism can look bad sometimes, and that a lot of flags that do it wrong kind of end up looking like corporate logos. But I actually think that this is minimalism done right. It's also appealing color choices, except for the mountains. I don't know why they're like almost like this weird burnt orange reddish color. B tier. Alright, next up we have the Argentinian flag. In my opinion, that sun just looks so goofy. I can't think of a better word. It's just the oddest facial expression I've ever seen, but I love it. Probably like B tier. Alright, I'm going to be abandoning the alphabetical order thing. I think that's making this take longer than it should. Alright, US. Definitely an interesting design. There aren't really any flags out there like it, except for Libya, which copied our homework. And it stands out to me as very unique on the world flag stage, which seems to be dominated by tricolors and bicolors. A tier easily, I would say. Alright, next up, China. Not a bad design flag, but in my opinion, too much red. Like, way too much red. I would say, like, below B tier, maybe. Alright, next up we have the biggest country on the map, and probably the most divisive country on Earth right now, Russia. I think as a tricolor it works. The shades of colors used complement each other nicely. Then again, though, it is a tricolor without anything else on it, so a little bit boring. Probably just like C tier, maybe like higher C tier. Next up we have the Union Jack. I love this flag. I think it's exceptionally well designed. I don't even know what about it works so well, because it's asymmetrical. Like, these lines that go through the white part do not match at all with each other. Like this, if you continue this, it would not line up with this. This flag has an exceptional amount of history to it too. You can probably see that I already put it in A tier. Alright, next up we have the land down under, Australia. Yeah, I like it. I really do. I like the star placement. I think that the stars are well arranged in a visually appealing way. The white contrasts nicely against the blue field. Definitely an A tier flag. Step Canada. Do I even need to explain why the Canadian flag is basically perfect from a graphic design standpoint? It's awesome. A tier. Mexico, another pretty large country on the map. I really like the crest of Mexico. I think it really is kind of beautiful. The eagle's wing kind of makes it look more like a circle, like all the way around. Does definitely help with the design. This is another one of those flags I think is just impossible not to like. Definitely A tier. So we got the Armenian flag. I hate this flag. The color choice is just atrocious. I really don't like it. F tier. Alright, next up we have the Austrian flag. It's alright. I mean, I don't have any complaints, but it really is just another kind of average bicolor. I'm gonna say like C tier. Because remember, C isn't average. C, it sounds bad, but it really isn't. Step Azerbaijan. Again, I think the color choice is a little bit weird. I don't know how I feel about this like sky blue sort of color next to this green. It's not like F tier bad, but it's definitely like D tier. We have the flag of the Bahamas. This flag is gorgeous. The colors are perfect. I think this is pretty much S tier. It just feels so like islandy. It's just amazing. Alright, next up we have Bahrain and Qatar. I'm just going to do these at the same time since they have like the same sort of pattern to them and just look similar. Qatar's alright. I don't know how I feel about this like muddy maroon color. Not as good as the kind of the brighter red of the Bahrain. Qatar would be D tier and Bahrain would be like C tier. Next we have Bangladesh. I think it kind of just looks like a crappier version of the Japanese flag, to be quite honest. Low C tier. Next up we have the flag of Barbados. This is a really good one. Simplistic, nice colors, tells you right away that it's got a very strong nautical theme to it. Tells you right away that it's like an island. A tier for that one. Alright, next we have Belarus. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like this super elaborate pattern thing that runs along the side. I just don't think it works on a flag. I think it's just way too complicated and unnecessary. Turkmenistan does the same thing, but worse. Yeah, this is like low D tier. Alright, next we have Belgium. I think that these colors look great together. It's kind of the same exact thing as Germany though, so I think that I would just put this in the same place that I would put Germany, which would be A tier. And you know, while we're at it, we'll just put Germany in A tier as well. Alright, next we got Belize. I don't like this one. I think that the red along the top and bottom is way too thin. I think that this crest is way oversized, probably just so you can see all the unnecessary details they put in it. This is like pretty low D tier. Alright, next up we have the Benin flag. I don't like this color combination. I don't like green, yellow, red. I just think it doesn't look good on a flag. I think that they clash horribly. Yeah, it's like F tier. Next we got the Bhutan flag. This is just awesome. I think I've got kind of a thing for flags with dragons on them, because Wales is up there pretty high for me too. Easily high A tier. Next up we have the Bolivian flag. Not only is this flag almost entirely comprised of this color combination I hate, but there are miniature versions of said color combination within the flag itself. I think you already know what tier. Next up we have the flag of Bosnia and Herzegovina. This is a pretty good one, I'm gonna be honest. I really like it. Not a fan of the cut off stars. Other than that, awesome. It almost looks like a puzzle piece. Like there's more to this flag elsewhere and you have to kind of put it together. Yeah, definitely A tier. Alright, next we have the flag of Botswana. I like these colors quite a bit. I think the placement is good. All that is great. Although I will say Estonia did it better. So if Estonia is like A tier, then this one's probably B tier. Next up we got Brazil. Again, why is it like the biggest countries have some of the best graphic design on their flags? Like this, I think it's a little bit overcomplicated with all these stars. Yeah, I think a few less of those would do, but I don't think it interferes with it that much. Probably just like B tier. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, but the flag of Brunei. This one's not great. Writing, calligraphy way too small that you can't see it. Too many details. I don't get this weird stripe down the middle. Not the best colors in the world either. Probably F tier. Alright, next we have Bulgaria. Kind of just looks a bit like a ripoff Italy. I would say just another average tricolor, really. C tier. Next up, Burkina Faso. It's got that color combination I hate, but it does have a pretty nice minimalist vibe to it, and I kind of like flags with stars on them. I would say it stays out of F tier, like low D tier. Next up we have Burundi. I don't like the saltire with the circle in the middle. I don't like the colors. This is a really bad one. Alright, next up we have the Ivory Coast. Somebody copied Ireland's homework, but you know, Ireland is an S tier flag, so it's also S tier, I guess, because it's like the same exact thing. Next up we have Cabo Verde. I want to like it. I feel like this flag could have worked if it had just a little bit of design retooling. I think having the star circle right over the stripes kind of messes with it a little bit. Probably just D tier. Next we have Cambodia. Way too many details on this castle. Like, that was completely unnecessary. You could have just had this be an outline of the castle and it would have been fine. Definitely like low D tier. Alright, next we got the Cameroon flag. It's basically just this one, but worse. F tier. Next up, we have the flag of the Central African Republic. Way too many colors. That's just wrong. What are you trying to be, Seychelles? F tier. Here we have the flag of Chad, also known as the flag of Romania. Another average tricolor, probably just C tier. Alright, next we have Chile, which, again, looking a little similar to another country there, Chile. It's good, but not like A tier or S tier good, probably just B. Next we have Colombia. My OCD hates this one, D tier. Alright, next we have the flag of the Congo. I actually like this one quite a bit. I mean, from what I can gather, that country's a mess, but at least they got a good flag. Like, it's a very nice blue. Goes very nicely with the red stripe across the middle. Alright, next we have Costa Rica. It's kind of just Thailand with like an overcomplicated off-center coat of arms. Yeah, probably just D tier. Next up we have Croatia. It's a picnic blanket on a flag. What do you want me to say? Alright, next we have Cuba. I like this one quite a bit. I can't think of what the technical term right now is called with the triangle that goes to about third of the way through the flag. I do like flags that have that quite a bit, especially when they're well integrated like this. Yeah, definitely A tier. Cyprus. One of the very few mostly white flags on the international stage. I think it's also one of the only flags that has the shape of the actual landmass on it. Either way, I like it. It works. This is another example of well done minimalism. So we got the flag of the Czech Republic. This is just like Cuba, but even more simple, and I love it. A tier for sure. Next up, we have the Denmark flag, which I'm pretty sure is the oldest international flag still in use today. It's kind of interesting. It's more like B tier, actually. There are better Nordic crosses out there. Next up, we have Djibouti. I think that's how you say it. It's alright, but nothing that great. Probably D tier. Next up, we have Dominica. Way too many colors. Low D tier for sure. Next up, we have the flag of the Dominican Republic. Again, with the stupid small little coat of arms. You don't need to do that. D tier. Alright, next up we have North Korea, or the DPRK. As much as I hate to do this, because it's friggin' North Korea, that's an A tier flag right there. Next up we have Ecuador. This is just Colombia with a coat of arms on it. Low D tier. Next up we got Egypt. Nice colors. The kind of golden eagle thing that got going on here really makes me think of Egypt. Definitely B tier. Next up we have El Salvador. Nice colors. Another overcomplicated coat of arms. It's fine, I guess. High D tier, I suppose. Next up we have Equatorial Guinea. Oh my god, that looks like one of the Liberian county flags. F tier. Next up we have the flag of Eritrea. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Next up we have Estonia. God, those colors are beautiful. This is another one of those flags that's also supposed to be a landscape. Like, we got snow, the kind of like the really dark tree line, and then the sky. Yeah, easily A tier. Eswatini. I like the tribal aspect to this one, but I think it looks very busy, and the colors aren't particularly appealing. Probably like low D tier. Ethiopia. This looks like a child's drawing of a flag. F tier. Next up is Fiji. I like this one, but Tuvalu did it better. Still gets a B in my book, though. Next we have Finland. I think that pretty much all the Scandinavian cross flags are above C tier. It's just determining which ones are better than others. This is not one of the best ones, but it still gets a very respectable B. Next up we have the flag of France. I honestly think that how much I like this flag depends on what shade of blue they're using. I think that when it has a lighter shade of blue it looks wrong, but when it has this more navy color it looks awesome. Definitely B tier. Next we have the flag of Gabon. Again, these colors just don't look good together. F tier. Next up Gambia. Oh god, it's worse. Next up we have the flag of Georgia, the country of Georgia. Yeah, this one looks great. I like the colors. It has the, I want to say St. George's cross on it. It looks very old. Like, this looks like a medieval flag. Almost crusadery. Still very solid. Maybe like a low B. Next up we have Ghana. Not gonna lie, all of these African flags really start to run together. I feel like a lot of them look very similar. And they all use the same unappealing color combination. Next up, Greece. This is another one of those flags that I feel like looks extremely old. However, it aged just incredibly well if it is super old. It's also very unique looking. There aren't a lot of other flags like it. Definitely A tier. Next up is Grenada. This is a hell no from me. So busy, asymmetrical, bad colors. This is F tier for sure. Next up we have Guatemala. I'm pretty sure that this flag has like their actual constitution on it. I think that's what that scroll in the middle is supposed to be. And it's got like some bayoneted rifles in the background, so very based. I would say like low C, probably one of the better South American flags. Next up we have the flag of Guinea. It's about as basic you can get with a tricolor, and guess what? Those colors are the ones I don't like. Next up we got Guyana. Still got the same awful color combination, but it's got a very interesting shape to it, which makes me like it a little bit more, so like low D. Next up we have Haiti. I really do like this one. I think that it has a really neat coat of arms in the middle, but I don't like how it's literally just in a rectangle in the middle of the flag. I think that that's just atrocious placement. Yeah, it's like high D. Next up we have the flag of the Vatican, also known as the Holy See. I think that this coat of arms here is very, very complicated. Normally I would say too overcomplicated, but I think it's very fitting for the Vatican, because when I think of more religious artwork and architecture and things, I think of things that are very intricate and complicated, so I think that this flag complements that nicely. However, as far as how visually appealing it is to look at, it's C tier. Next up we have the flag of Honduras. This is kind of an older one, I think. I know they recently changed it to like a super bright blue that looks kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I like this shade of blue much better. Still a solid flag though. I would say like low B. Next up we have Hungary. It's basically just Bulgaria. Again, it's like the Italian flag, but the colors are swapped around and flipped in a different direction. So it's in basically the same exact place as it. Next up we have Iceland, which I think this is probably my second favorite Nordic cross. I think my first favorite would be Norway. Since Norway is probably S tier, this is going to be A tier. Next up we have India. India's pretty good. I think that the wheel in the middle, I know it has religious significance. I think it's a little bit complicated though for a flag. I would probably knock the number of spokes on this thing down a little bit. All in, not a bad flag, probably high C. Next up we have Indonesia. There's like two other flags that look almost exactly like this. I think all of those would go in C tier. Next up we have Iran. Having the calligraphy kind of border the other colors makes it blend together way too much, and I don't think anyone would actually be able to read or see that. Like low D tier. Iraq does a little bit better. The writing's a lot more clear. The color choice is nicer. I would say like high C tier. Next up we have the flag of Ireland. I already said earlier in the video that this one was S tier because I don't think I've ever seen more appealing colors on a tricolor, so easily S tier. Next up we have the flag of Israel. I think it works really well. I like how they didn't just have the Star of David on it and gave it these blue stripes here to fill the background a little bit. Definitely like high B tier. Italy. Based on the other ones that look almost exactly like it, I think you know where it goes at this point. We have the flag of Jamaica. This one is, unlike Burundi down here, is like a very good integration of the Saltire. I think the color choice is perfect. This is a really solid flag, definitely A tier. Alright, I just restructured the tier list a little bit, just give myself a bit more room, so that's why it looks different. Anyways, you got the flag of Japan here. This is a really good one. Definitely A tier. It's so simple, but the symbolism is clearly there. It's the rising sun. Next, we got the flag of Jordan. This one's alright. I think it's just another like D tier flag though. Next up, we have Kazakhstan. This one's interesting. First of all, color combination is beautiful, but it's got that weird like Persian rug looking pattern thing on the side that I'm not a fan of. But this eagle thing with the sun is beautiful. So I'm a little bit torn on this one. I'm going to say low B tier. Next up we have Kenya. I love this one. This is like what Eswatini was trying to do, but so much better. It like incorporates the tribal symbolism into the actual color and design of the flag. A tier easily. Next up we have Kiribati. This one is super interesting. I can't think of any other flags that have like waves in them like this to represent water. That's pretty interesting. It's also got this lovely seabird on it. This one's just great. Great colors, great graphic design. High B tier. Next up we have Kuwait. It looks like they tried to do the triangle thing, but then just gave up halfway through. Again, it's alright. I feel like the same way about it that I do the Jordan one. Next up we have Kyrgyzstan. Yeah, that's the Xbox logo on a flag. I'm gonna say low B. Next up we have Laos. This is another really good one. Probably B. Next up we have Latvia, which is just kind of a darker Austria. Another just kind of average tricolor. Next up we have the flag of Lebanon. I really like the flag of Lebanon. I think that this tree, I don't know what it is about it because it looks kind of ridiculous, but I think it's like perfect for the flag. Yeah, that's an S tier. I think we can all kind of agree on that. Next up we have Lesotho. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Is it a bell? Is it a dress? That's a D tier flag. Next up we got Liberia, which, yeah, this flag definitely ripped off the US. Still looks good though. We'll go with B. Next up we have Libya. Kind of in the same camp as these two here. Next up we have Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein's fine. Totally average. I would say like C tier. So we got Lithuania. See, this is like the exact same color palette as all these ones down here in F tier, but they darkened the shades slightly, and just that small little tweak alone makes it look so much better. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not good because of that. It's still in like D tier, but it stays out of F tier just from that adjustment. Next we got Luxembourg. Yeah, I think that those colors are just a hair too loud. That's like B tier. Alright, next up we have the flag of Madagascar. Looks kind of like another clone of Italy's with the same exact colors. They probably just C tier. Next up we have Malawi. I think I'm saying that right. This looks like another flag that sort of utilizes the African colors, only it doesn't have the yellow in it, which makes it look a lot better. I also think that the sun is pretty well designed. Probably C tier. Alright, next up, Malaysia. Looks like yet another country took some pretty heavy inspiration from the US there. Yeah, there's a good reason that the US never utilized yellow in its flag. G tier. Next up we got Maldives. Or is it Maldives? I don't know. You know, I'm starting to think that red, green, and white is another pretty mediocre color combination. That's probably like low D tier. Alright, next up we have Mali. Looking really similar to Guinea. And I dislike it for the same reasons. They want to share a design, they can share a tier too. Next up we have Malta. This one really isn't that bad, it's just you can't see anything on this little cross in the corner. Like, it might as well just be another red and white bicolor. So because of that, I can share a tier with them. Next up we have the Marshall Islands. I like this one a lot. I think that the minimalism on it looks nice, and I'm a sucker for flags that have colors shooting off from the corners, as you'll see when we get to Seychelles. The star is a little bit overcomplicated in my opinion, but still a really great flag. Definitely A tier. Next we have Mauritania. It's got the Unholy Trinity color combination going on. So into the bottom tier it goes. Next up we have Mauritius. This one just took those same three colors from the Unholy Trinity and added blue, and it's not enough to save it. Next we have Micronesia. Honestly, this one's just beautiful. It's got a very appealing color palette, and the star arrangement is great. It's nice and minimalist. However, I still think that Somalia did it better, and Somalia is probably A tier, so B tier it goes. Next up we got Moldova. Essentially the same exact thing as Andorra, so they can go in the same spot. Next we got Mongolia. I do like this design. I'm not a fan of the colors though, or the layout. Just move the thing to the middle. Probably D tier. Next we have, I think, the best Maximist flag currently used on the international stage today, which is Montenegro. As you can see, this one has a lot of details, but I think that they're very, very well implemented. I did an art project a while ago where I drew out all of the world's flags, and even though this one was incredibly hard to get right because of all of the fine details, it was still my favorite to draw. Definitely S tier. Next up we have Morocco. What is this, a nation of Satanists? D tier for devil. Next we have Mozambique. Honestly, this flag shouldn't work, but I still really like it. I think that out of all the flags that incorporate a firearm into their design, this one definitely does it the best. Probably like low B tier. Next up we got Myanmar. Okay, so remember how earlier I said that I prefer flags with stars on them? Yeah, this makes me want to take it back. Alright, next we got Namibia. This one decides to mix up that heinous color combination a little bit by making it blue instead of yellow, but there's still yellow in it. Mauritius has taught us that this color combination just does not work. F tier. Next we have Nauru, which, believe it or not, is a tiny island nation with the highest obesity rate for a country on Earth. Not America, it's this tiny little island. Found that pretty surprising. Yeah, this one's pretty good. I think it's a slightly better Cabo Verde, so C tier. Alright, next up we got Nepal. Nepal, the only non-rectangular international flag. I don't know, personally I love it. I think it's the fact that it's a different shape that gets me. Like, all the other countries in the world were fine with having rectangles, and then Nepal was just like, no. We're gonna make an irregular flag, and we're gonna do a damn good job designing it. So we got the Netherlands. Remember when I said that the flags in Luxembourg were too loud? I stand by that, and as you can see, the Netherlands are a more chilled out version of the same colors. Yes, I'm gonna knock this one down to like low B, and then this one can be a higher B. Alright, next we got New Zealand. Yeah, this really is just a crappier version of the Australian flag, C tier. Next we got Nicaragua. This is another one of those South American flags that has a coat of arms in the middle that's really small and with way too many details on it, so D tier it goes. Alright, next we got Niger. Kinda just looks like a bootleg India in my opinion. D tier. Next we got Nigeria, which is a very interesting tricolor. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Part of me like really likes it, and then another part of me feels completely apathetic towards it. We're just gonna go C tier. Next we got North Macedonia. This is another flag that has the sun on it. This is probably one of my favorite takes on the sun in a flag, right up there with Japan. A tier for sure. Time for my favorite Scandinavian cross flag, Norway. Yeah, S tier without question. Next we got Oman. Yeah, this has an overcomplicated crust and uninteresting colors. D tier. Alright, next up we have Pakistan. I think this is one of my favorite flags that has Islamic symbolism on it. This is definitely one of the better flags to come out of the Middle East. I would say high C tier. Next we got Palau. This is a good one. Simple, nice colors. Definitely invokes a more calming island energy. Solid B tier. Next up, Panama. This is definitely one of my favorite Central or Southern American flags. Yeah, Dominican Republic, take notes. This is like the better version of you. Easily A tier. Next we have Papua New Guinea. This one's honestly not terrible. It's got one of my favorite color combinations going on there too. This one's like a low B tier. Next up we have Paraguay. If I recall correctly, this is one of, if not the only, international flag that is officially double-sided. However, the side that I'm looking at right now, whether it's front or back, not the best. It does that same thing that a lot of these South American flags seem to be doing, where it's just a coat of arms in the middle. It's way too tiny. D tier. Next up, we got the Peruvian flag. I do like the color choice for this one, but I don't think that stops it from being slightly below average. Next up, we got the flag of the Philippines. Fun fact about this flag, if the country is ever at war, then the flag is just flipped upside down so that the red is on top and the blue is on bottom. It's a nice flag, but I would say still just kind of average. Next up, we have Portugal. You know, I'm pretty sure the Portuguese colors used to be blue and white. I can't say I'm a fan of what they switched it to on their flag. It's got the same color palette as all these down here, and it's like way overcomplicated as well. Yeah, that's F. Next up, we got Romania. We kind of did this already. Next we got Rwanda. Can't say I care too much for this kind of odd color combination. Yeah, most of these yellow and green flags are rough. Alright, next we got St. Kitts and Nevis, and this is actually an example of that color palette of green, yellow, and red done right. I think that the fact that it is in a slanted orientation and it's got this black strip down the middle with the white stars to sort of help balance it really helps the flag. Yeah, just adding a buffer color that bumped it up 2 whole tiers. Next we got St. Lucia. I feel like I really do have a strong attraction towards flags that have sort of a brighter blue on them. More often than not, it looks really good. Yeah, it's an easy A. Next we got Samoa, and this one's okay. It's like a perfectly serviceable flag. D tier. Next we got San Marino, and this is an example of a flag that in my opinion does many details badly. It's D tier, but I do like that blue and white, so I guess it's high D tier. Next we have Sao Tome. This looks just like all the other F tier flags. Next up we got Saudi Arabia. Now I know they recently changed this one. I think they made the calligraphy less complicated. I personally don't like that. I like the complicated calligraphy. I actually think it looks really good. This is also a very visually appealing layout, and I really like this shade of like a deep, rich green. Yeah, definitely one of the best Middle Eastern flags. A tier for sure. Next up we got Senegal. Do I even need to say it? Next up we got Serbia. Okay, I honestly feel like this is a flag that could actually do with a little bit of simplification on this coat of arms here. Still not bad looking by any means, just average. Next up we got Seychelles. I think that this has been one of my favorite flags of the world since I first started my collection. I think this was actually one of the first flags that I bought for the collection. Definitely in the top 3. Like I said, I'm a sucker for flags that have colors coming out of the corner like that. I think it's cool and unique. And even though these are colors that I don't think would normally work together in combination, the way that they are arranged in this orientation somehow makes them meld together very nicely. Definitely S tier. Next we got Sierra Leone. This one's alright. Not exactly sure about the shades of those colors though. Probably just D, which I'm now realizing is the most full tier out of all of these. Next up, Singapore. Yeah, this can go join Indonesia, Monaco, Poland, and Malta. Is there just one crazed diplomat who made all these flags look almost exactly the same? Next we got Slovakia. Remember a minute ago when I said that Serbia's coat of arms could use some oversimplification? This almost looks like a version where they did that, but they took away so many details that it just looks bad now. Next up we got Slovenia, which is a country with almost the exact same name as Slovakia and almost the exact same flag, because that's not confusing. Seeing as they're so similar, they can share a tier. Next up, Solomon Islands. I can't stress enough how much I don't like this color combination. Next up we have one of the best African flags, which I mentioned earlier, Somalia. I think earlier I also said that Somalia was A tier, so here we go. Next up, we have one of the few world flags that was able to successfully integrate more than 5 colors, which is South Africa. I have no idea why this works as well as it does. It has no business being this neat and aesthetically pleasing when it uses this many different colors, but here we are. Definitely A tier. Next up, we have South Korea. This is just another one of those flags that's just so minimalist and aesthetically pleasing, it's not even funny. It's like a slightly more detailed Japan, but it still works just as well. Next we have South Sudan. You know, this flag would have been totally fine if they didn't just decide to vomit a bunch of clashing colors in the corner here. Like if this was just black, white, red, white, green, it would have been fine. But then they just put blue and yellow in the corner for no reason, and it looks awful. How fitting, a failed flag for a failed state. Next up we have Spain, which in my opinion has one of the most visually appealing and best designed coats of arms out of all of the international flags. It also has very nice coloring, B tier for sure. Next up we have Sri Lanka. Yeah, this flag is just plain ugly, I'm sorry. Fitting that that island is shaped like a teardrop because this flag makes me want to cry. Next up we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That damn color combination again. Next up we have Palestine. Can barely tell it apart from Jordan or Kuwait. Sudan. You know, I feel like we just did this. Suriname, not even worth commentating on anymore. Next up we have another really great Scandinavian cross flag, Sweden. This one's definitely A tier. I just think that the blue and yellow work better than the white and blue and the red and white of the Denmark and Finland flags. Next up we have Switzerland. You know what they say about living in Switzerland? The flag is a big plus. God, do you ever tell a joke so bad that the joke is that the joke isn't funny? Next we have Syria. Kind of looking like just another standard Middle Eastern flag. God, it's amazing how basically all of these use like the exact same colors here. Next up, Tajikistan. The darker shades are keeping it out of F tier. Next we have Tanzania. See, this flag does the same thing that St. Kitts and Nevis does, where it has a color combination that I don't particularly like, but it adds like a black strip or a different contrasting color like across the middle of it to break it up, and it looks great for it. Yeah, that shot it up to like B tier. Next up we got Thailand. Oh, my OCD also really doesn't like this one, but if you turn it on its side, it's symmetrical, so problem solved. In all seriousness, this one's pretty unique. I think this is the only flag on the international stage that has like a fat middle line and then the lines beyond it get smaller. And I'm surprised more countries don't do it because it works pretty well. B tier should be good. Next up we have Timor. See, I do like this color combination, but I think this is one of the only flags that has it that I don't actually care for. Like the way these triangles are oriented just isn't doing it for me. Next up, Togo. More like Togno. Now we got Tonga. This one just looks like a slightly reworked Switzerland flag, so 1 tier under it should be good. This is quite possibly my favorite red, black, and white flag combination, Trinidad and Tobago. Something about this flag is just strikingly beautiful. I really do like flags that have diagonal lines. That's something that I find personally appealing in flag design. Yeah, this is S tier. Next we have Tunisia. This is another flag that has kind of the toy ball look to it with the moon and star. Yeah, this one's fine, although I think Turkey did it better. Yeah, that minimalism just complements those colors and that design a lot better. B tier. Next up, Turkmenistan. I think I mentioned previously how I feel about Turkmenistan. Next we got Tuvalu. I was going to put this in S tier, but it's now occurring to me that St. Lucia is just a better version of Tuvalu. So I'm going to put St. Lucia in S, and Tuvalu can just go 1 tier below it. Next we got the UAE. This looks very similar to a bunch of other flags in the D tier, so can live amongst them. Yeah, when it's the same color palette, kind of just plugged into different patterns without a whole lot of different variety, they're probably all going to be in the same tier. Next up we got Uganda. I really hope I don't have to explain to everyone why this is ugly. Next up we got Ukraine. It's a very simple flag. It's another one of those landscape flags, so I like that. Probably just B tier. Next up we have Uruguay. I think that this flag tried to get a little bit creative with its spacing, and I don't think it works. Next up we got Uzbekistan. I think this flag gets way too busy between the stars and the really thin red lines between the main colors. Probably just D tier. Next up we have Vanuatu. Even at the end of the alphabet I can't escape this horrific combination of colors. I do like that they filled in this part with black though, and outlined this bit here with black, so just like lower D tier. Next we got Venezuela. Kind of just another standard tricolor, but I do like the arrangement of stars here. Also, I'm pretty sure that the main version doesn't have this little coat of arms in the corner, but this is the only version that's provided me by my search thing over here, which is built into the software. so I'm just going to use it for now. So ignoring this, I would say this is probably B tier. Next up we have Vietnam. Honestly, I just feel like this is a slightly better China, so it can go 1 tier above it. Alright, next up we got Yemen. Love this color combination, and it's not cluttered by anything. So it's kind of just like a slightly better version of Iraq, so B tier. Next up we have Zambia. Let's see, this flag has unnecessary detail, a very empty field off to the left, and clashing colors in this little miniature tricolor thing shoved off to the right over here. Yep, that's pretty definitively F. And lastly we have Zimbabwe. Do I even need to say it? Oh, and I forgot one in the middle. This one didn't show up on the list of countries that I'm using, but I do know it exists. Kosovo. I don't know if the list that I'm using is just UN recognized countries or something, and that's why it didn't show up, but you know, I just remembered at the end, so I'm just going to tack it on here. And it gets a completely average C tier. So, here it is after like 4 hours of recording. We're finally done. Quick overview of the tier list. S is just for my personal favorites that I find most visually appealing. A seems to be a lot of the world's biggest countries, as well as a few smaller ones that just made really smart design choices. B are for flags that are good, but not great, or some of the best. C seems to be where I decided to stick most of the average tricolors that the world had to offer, as well as a couple miscellaneous ones that I felt were truly average. D tier seems to be where most of the flags ended up landing. I wouldn't say that the flags in D tier are necessarily bad. I would just say that they are noticeably below average. I feel like a lot of flags that are in D and F tier ended up there because I don't like the color combinations that they decided to go with, which I think is a valid reason for demoting a flag, because if the colors clash, then it can take away a lot of the visual appeal from the flag. And then F tier are my personal least favorites. A lot of these seem to be African flags that decided to use that same color combination of red, green, and yellow that I think looks absolutely awful on flags. It seems a lot of them tried to spruce it up with some accents, usually the accent color being black. But honestly, most of the time it didn't really do it for me, and I found the color crash too overwhelming, or even with the accents. So there are also a couple of flags down there that don't have those color combinations. They just have other color combinations that don't work, or are just flat out messes. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you agree or disagree with my opinion, please let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, also let me know that. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video around. Bye.